A Nevada family says their home's been bombed and strafed by the U.S. government, and now the military is trying to force them off their own land.
The family has owned a mining camp overlooking the secret base at Area 51 for decades. Tonight, they're finally speaking out after keeping their silence for more than 60 years.
The Sheehan family spoke exclusively with the I-Team's Glenn Meek, who brings us their remarkable story.
It may be one of the last great untold stories of the Cold War. It's a tale of what happens when family, history, and national security collide. In what may be the final act of a Cold War drama playing out in the Nevada desert, a family is poised to lose land they have held in this state since Ulysses Grant was president. Here is part of their story and what they say has been decades of abuse at the hands of their own government. By now, most people have probably heard of the secret base hidden in the Nevada desert known as Area 51. But what you may not know is there is a privately owned lead and silver mine overlooking the classified base.
From our great-grandfather to our grandfather, our fathers, they were raised there. They lived there. This was their home.
The Groom mine has been in the Sheehan family for 130 years. Since government testing started in the mid-1950s, the family has had one of the nation's most closely guarded defense installations literally in their backyard. They have never spoken about it publicly until now.
Well, first, we really didn't want to have to come public, but the Air Force has forced us into it. And we want them to know that what they have done over the last 60 years to our family is not acceptable.
These were fired over our property.
The Sheehans say their buildings were strafed and bombed by military planes in the 40s and 50s, and they believe it was an errant bomb or dropped wing tank that blew up their mill in 1954, ending production at the mine.
My grandfather and grandmother, Dan and Martha Sheehan, were destroyed by the actions of this government.
And we have some evidence that they absolutely were the culprits in that, and it was never addressed. They literally ran our grandparents out of money trying to fight them.
They have driven away prospective business partners and told them, if you buy the place or try to operate it, we are going to condemn it, you're going to lose your money.
In recent decades, the government has withdrawn large tracts of land around Area 51 and posted sentries to keep prying eyes off the base.
We've been illegally searched. I was threatened to be arrested on a trip when I was going out one time.
The guard told them that they wouldn't hesitate to shoot them.
They held people at gunpoint. They withdrew 89,000 acres of land, surrounded our property, made us an island.
But 6 years before that, they placed a security shack on the road that our grandfather built for access to our own property and started requiring us to go through their checkpoints.
This map shows the location of the Groom mine in connection with the former nuclear test site, the Nellis Gunnery Range, and Area 51, which today are under the same defense agency umbrella. But these secure areas grew up around the Sheehan's mine, which has been in the family since Ulysses Grant was president.
Now, we're not saying what they're doing is unimportant and doesn't need to be protected. We get it, but we've been there alongside these people since 1955.
Right. And the truth is, as we talked about often, is you can get more view of what's going on that base through Google Earth and pictures that are out there all over the internet that we haven't put out there.
And what we're hoping is that our representatives say enough's enough. They need to step in and they need to fix this.
Now, citing the incompatibility of private land in the middle of defense testing, the Air Force is essentially giving the Sheehans an ultimatum. Accept a $5.2 million buyout for the 400 acres in their possession, or face having the land condemned and taken through eminent domain. The Sheehans find the offer insulting.
I mean, that's really what we're talking about. Is it okay to bomb your citizens, hold them at gunpoint, and then, to add insult to injury, just steal their property?
The Sheehans say the Air Force offer doesn't even cover the value of the minerals in the mine, let alone the family's close connection to the land, where forebears not only toiled, but died.
Either give us our property, leave us alone, or pay us what you owe us.
The Sheehans have until September 10th to accept the offer from the Air Force.
So isn't it ironic that on September 11th, the United States government is going to finish the last act of what can only be described as a criminal act to take our property on September 11th. I just find that ironic. It's sad.
Glenn Meek, 8 News Now.
The Sheehan say they have documents to support their assertions about having buildings shot up or blown up by the Air Force. They want everyone to know they consider themselves patriots and they respect the Air Force, but they believe the Air Force's offer is woefully inadequate. We also reached out to the Air Force for comment, and though a spokesman did not return Glenn's call, the Air Force did issue a press release on Friday saying security and safety issues have made it impossible to continue with civilian ownership of private land in the test area. You can read the full statement on our website. The Sheehans disagree that the Air Force has been reasonable. They plan to fight their cause in Congress, possibly in court, and certainly in the court of public opinion.